It's been a while on account of various visitors, travels and illnesses. Oh, and also Diablo 2 Eastern Sun has gnawed at my time. Blizzard have released statements this summer decreeing that Diablo 3 will be online only, and that an auction house will be present. To me, this was no shock and even less a disappointment. I'm too jaded to be offended by the greed of corporations nowadays, so I don't object to the auction house and market. Besides, it will inevitably exist whether it is conveniently maintained in-game by Blizzard or created by shady opportunistic third parties. And it's not pay to win because you can't win an eternal grindfest the likes of Diablo games, nor can you attain any advantage that is not open to every player equally. Although I think that the auction house should watermark bought items so that we can openly denigrate players with too much disposable income, the swine. My reaction to the revelation that Diablo 3 would be online only was an unsurprised, glazed stare tinged with a comforting sense of futility. While I lament the absence of LAN, I don't think anyone should be surprised by this development. Diablo is enriched by multiplayer. Almost as soon as I began Diablo 2 multiplayer, offline mode reeked of aimlessness when the long-term point of the game was its items. Items which you'd show off or use to help and kill others. There's little point in grinding for a rare rune word when there's no one else to see it, or when open BattleNet is so crawling with duplicates and hacked items that they're worthless. The underlying drive for Diablo is vanity and wealth. It's all about appearances, and if no one can see you, then motivation is drained. Also, obviously, in multiplayer mode, sorceresses finally became viable, with other players able to work around elemental immunities. Having said all that, prior to these announcements, I was unaware of the existence of Diablo 2 mods, and leaped into action to fix this by trying two large overhaul mods, Median XL Omega and Eastern Sun. Now, Median XL Omega is dreadfully unbalanced and a poster child for indulgent mods that aren't worth your time unless you want a quick power play. By level 20, my sorceress was hunting Radamant, killing all before her with an overpowered spread fire spell, and restoring all her mana with a mana stealing spell. A mana stealing spell? That sounds unbalancing, and it is! Everything was dying as soon as I saw it, infinite mana at hand. Yet I was somehow being damaged passively, presumably as some kind of balancing measure. Lost interest fast. Eastern Sun, however, proved to me the merit of modding tools by being at least as far beyond Lord of Destruction as Lord of Destruction is beyond vanilla Diablo 2. Skill trees were tweaked and built upon instead of replaced a la Median, and the array of crafting options keeps you interested even after obtaining the best gear. Eastern Sun makes gold matter, lets you reassign your skill points, unsocket items, and use an infinite shared stash. All things that should really have been included in Diablo 2. And I did manage to enjoy all this playing solo, so I'm reconsidering my stance on Diablo 3's online requirement and lack of modding ability. Until Blizzard put a foot wrong, I am compelled to trust them. They do make quite good games. In other news, all-age gaming seems to have suffered some kind of civil war and has exploded, so my videos will always be uploaded here and occasionally be linked to within a new website currently being set up by AAG's rebel forces. The benefit of having the last few months accelerated by illness, travel, people, and a hapless addiction to increasing numbers in Eastern Sun is that Skyrim is closer! 2 months away. Also, the Heroes of Might and Magic 6 beta looks like a simplified graphical overhaul with added narrative. Mines can only be captured by taking their associated nearby towns, which now act as they do in Disciples 3, as recruitment and defensive bases instead of fully functional cities as in every other HOM game. Did I say HOM? I meant meh. My interest in Might and Magic Hero 6 is now approaching zero. It would do Black Hole Entertainment and Ubisoft's graphics department a world of good to study the art of cartography, as the Heroes of Might and Magic series looked at its best to me when it knew that it was a board game played on a map, but now it has fallen in line with current trends to pollute the aesthetic with the misguided notion that everything needs to look bloody real. The only good thing that can be said of it from the perspective of a long-time fan is that it recycles music from Heroes of Might and Magic 2, but that speaks more of the creative vacuum developing the game instead of them having any understanding as to what made Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and 3 great. Additionally, Ubisoft's invasive online requirement for what is essentially a single-player game, as opposed to Diablo, makes me desperate to don my eye-patch, wooden leg, parrot and cutlass when acquiring the game for review once released. I hope I'm proved wrong about this. I'm now going to try and play Bastion, but I'll be thinking of Skyrim.